What's going on? It's Fight Season MMA, and today I want to make a video talking about which is the next UFC champion to lose their belt. I think there's a couple options within the UFC organization of champions to lose their belt next, and we'll go down and break those down. Let's get right into the video. Okay, so I want to start with the UFC champions that are possibly going to lose their belt in the next fight. There are some that I genuinely don't think will lose their belt, but there is three who I think that there is a possibility that they could lose their belt. And the first one I want to start with is the most unlikely and the one I will touch on the least today, and that is Sean O'Malley. I think Sean O'Malley's fighting style is super one-dimensional, and I truly like Sean O'Malley, but you look at his plan against Aljamain Sterling, and his plan banked on not getting taken down. And you look at that division, Corey Sandhagen, Henry Cejudo, Merab Dvalishvili, all can take Sean O'Malley down and possibly submit him or defeat him with ground and pound. Whereas there's other fighters like Chito Vera, who was a very favorable matchup for Sean O'Malley, and that was present through the entire fight of Sean O'Malley putting on one of the biggest masterclasses in the UFC upon Chito Vera. Now, Sean O'Malley's striking is so elite that I think that he will not lose his belt. I still think he beats Merab Dvalishvili, but that is more likely than someone like Islam Makhachev, Ilia Topuria losing their titles compared to Sean O'Malley. The next fighter who I think is more likely than Sean O'Malley to lose their title is Dricus du Plessis. You look at Dricus du Plessis' skills, and he is a skilled fighter, but he doesn't have some of the greatest skills in the UFC, and his biggest component to his fight game is his fighting IQ and his ability to make adjustments super quickly. But you look at someone who could knock him out like Israel Adesanya or Robert Whittaker a second time getting into that octagon, or Sean Strickland almost beat him, and I think that is something that Dricus du Plessis is going to have. He is a well-rounded fighter, but I think he's going to have trouble with every single middleweight in the middleweight division. Not saying he can't beat them, but I do think that is going to be something that brings Dricus du Plessis a little bit more trouble than some of these other fighters like Islam Makhachev, Ilia Topuria, Alex Pereira in their respected weight classes. But Dricus du Plessis, I still don't think loses to Israel Adesanya, and I do think that he could beat Izzy, he could beat Robert Whittaker, he could beat Strickland again, and I think that Dricus du Plessis honestly won't lose his belt anytime soon, but out of the current UFC champions, I think he's the second most likely champion to lose their belt, and I do think a fight against Israel Adesanya is a very close fight, and I'm super intrigued to see how Dricus du Plessis does against someone like Israel Adesanya, someone who has never fought before, who's an incredibly amazing striker, and someone who is going to be able to confuse Dricus du Plessis on the feet, and Dricus is going to have to use that IQ to adjust and ultimately outbeat and outpoint Israel Adesanya. And lastly, and most likely, in my opinion, to lose their belt next, and that is Alexandre Pantoja. You look at that fight against Steve Erceg that Pantoja had. In my opinion, Pantoja lost that fight. I don't know how he was able to get that, or how the judges gave him that win against Steve Erceg, and that was the number 10 ranked contender. Alexandre Pantoja has a very interesting style to where he is super heavy on top, and people like Brenner Royval who aren't going to really be able to beat him because he is so wild within the octagon. And Kai Kara France, I don't think, could beat him, but people like Brandon Moreno, Steve Erceg, Manel Kape, Muhammad Mokaev could possibly go in there and steal Alexandre Pantoja's title. Originally we thought that Alexandre Pantoja was going to be one of the longest reigning champions and one of the most dominant champions in the UFC to last, but this fight against Steve Erceg dropped Alexandre Pantoja's stock so much. And ultimately, I do think that Alexandre Pantoja is going to be the first UFC champion to lose their belt, and I do think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And like I said, I named people like Manel Kape, Brandon Moreno, and Steve Erceg to ultimately be able to strip Alexandre Pantoja of his title very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching this video of the next champion to lose their title. Please let me know if you agree with all these rankings, and if you do think Sean O'Malley, Dricus du Plessis, and Alexandre Pantoja are the most likely champions to be stripped of their title. Please leave a like and comment and subscribe. I see that 99% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed, so if you do enjoy them and you do watch them, please leave a comment and subscribe down below to show your support. I truly appreciate all the support I've given. We're on the road to 200 subscribers, and I will hopefully see you guys super soon with more UFC content.